Welcome. Welcome to all the old timers and the newcomers. I appreciate you all coming. We have someone here for the first time, so I really appreciate you being here. Great job with you on your meditation. Sat still. I'm Echo Sensei and resident here. I live here at the Zen Center, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk. So thank you, Roshi, very much. So I was wondering what I could talk about, and I spent a couple of days, kind of mulling over different things. And then I asked my daughter, Zoe, she's 13. She's here somewhere online. Of course, she's at our house right there, watching. And so I asked her what she thought I should talk about, and she suggested time. And I thought, wow, what a great answer. Time is a big deal. Time is, it's something, I don't think I've ever talked about it in 15 years, specifically, just about time. And so I thought I would go for it. And I might include other things into it. I don't want to go on and on. So yeah, time, right? Time is a great topic, and certainly our history includes a very extensive philosophical, spiritual writings about time. Dogen, of course, talking about being time, how being is time, how they're inseparable. And so there's so many writings about that. So anyway, there's a lot of talk about time. I started to look at a book from Katagiri Roshi. It's like 250-page book about time. And the reviews are like, wow, this is hard stuff to read. This is very dense. It's really like, it's hard to talk about. It's hard to anyway, it's a lot there. And it can become very subtle and very, like I said, dense and difficult to read. And we know that from Dogen as well. So I thought I would just go for it a little bit here. And so anyway, from my perspective, time, I've actually spent a lot of time thinking about time. I also studied philosophy. So I'm really interested in time from a philosophical, as well as a physics and physical perspective, and spiritual. And so just to get started here. So basically, Dogen talked about being time. So just being is time. And I think part of what I'm interested in is how we've evolved our understanding of time since Dogen. And so now what we talk about mostly in new physics is fields. And so Einstein was the first to really solidify this concept of space-time, which I don't know how similar it is to being time, but I think there's overlaps that I'm interested in pursuing. So Einstein, talking about space-time, is a field. And so that's how, that's kind of how the new physics is explaining things, that the fundamental aspect of our universe all breaks down into fields. And so the particles that we discover. They call them a field. So each particle is a field. I watched a great video that Elon Musk had recommended of a physicist breaking down our understanding of everything, and how our periodic table used to be the fundamental particles. And then we discovered subatomic particles. And so what's underlying the periodic table is subatomic particle physics. And then, so there's particles, and then what's underlying those is basically field. So it all breaks down into field. And so we can talk about this in terms of fields. And so I think part of what Zen has to offer to this discussion is that with our modern understanding of fields and particles is to see ourselves as a field. And that's what the physicist went on about, was that we look like we're material, but ultimately we are fields of potential that have become wrapped and solidified and become physical, material. But ultimately, if there's nothing material at its base, it all breaks down into fields. But when they get wrapped up enough, it looks material. So we are basically walking fields of particles and potential that are coalesced into what we call material. And so from a Zen perspective, right, I consider a lot of my practice is to bring presence to my field, to bring presence to my space time. So I am space time, I am being time. And the practice is to be with this, is to bring presence to this. And so the more presence I bring to my space time, it changes my field. My field becomes different. Through practice, through hours, through hundreds and thousands, through tens of thousands of hours of meditating, our field settles. It's like distilling our matter, and we get settled. We get more settled. And I guess I would consider it becoming more dense in a way. And so there's a balance of the energy and the mass, right? That's part of what Einstein taught us, was that energy and mass are the same thing. They become equal, they're equal, but they're in balance. So the more mass, the less energy, the more energy, the less mass. And so here we are, we're walking fields of energy, mass, space, time, being time, and we start to settle this field, and it produces results, it produces changes. And so the changes that we experience in this practice is more spaciousness and what I consider more time. I believe that as we really practice physically and mentally and emotionally, right? Those are like three different fields that we're integrating. As we practice, we settle the energy that's buzzing around, settles down, becomes more focused, more dense. And the density of this settling is what shifts. We gain more energy or gain more time and space through this. And so, that's all fine and good, right? Talking about physics and spirituality and how they overlap. but in practical terms, really what the power of that is that we as we wake up, we gain more space and more time in our field. I feel more spacious. I feel like I have more time in my life. My time isn't just flying by and I turn around and I go, oh, it's been 5 years and it just went by. Where did it go? No, I'm like, I know where my last 5 years went, and it went slowly, and I appreciated like much of it was appreciation and like just being present. And I feel like it's been 10 years. My last 5 years, I feel like it's been 10. And so I feel blessed to have the spaciousness in my heart and mind. I feel like I have time and space, more of it through my practice. And I think it plays into this common, sort of this common sense understanding of a watched pot never boils. So the concept, if you're watching something and you're waiting for results and you're just watching it, it just seems like it takes longer, right? And so that's kind of what we are. We are the pots of water. And if we can watch ourselves, right, then it does take longer. It's like there's more time if I invest my presence into myself, into my being time, then it opens up and it becomes more spacious and more time. There's more time. It feels that way. But that's really what matters, is that we feel spacious and we feel eternal, tapping into this eternity, this moment, right? So this moment we have is fleeting, right? There's no moment. It's just, or I might say there's one moment. We're moving through space. So my body is moving around and things change, but the moment is the same. So there's just one moment, stringing everything together. And so if I can settle my energy and tap into this eternal moment, then I feel more spacious and I feel like I have more time. And I think this plays into all of our practical daily situations. Like in our spaces, in our houses, do we feel like we have enough space in our house? Do we feel like we have enough space in our job? Do I have enough emotional space in my relationships? Do I feel like I have enough time in my life to appreciate the value and the blessings? Or am I just always running around? My mind is sort of scrambled and I never feel like I have enough time, and I'm always running late, and I'm always trying to barter for more time in different ways. Is my space so cluttered that I have a hard time thinking? Am I a hoarder, right? Am I filling up all the space so that I don't feel spacious? These are the practical ways that we can really shift our life and how we feel in our life and how we experience our life and others through this balance of space-time that we have access to. So I believe that we absolutely can shift our space-time. The space we feel we have and the time we feel we have can be shifted through this practice. And I think that's the essence, is bringing presence to our space-time. The more presence I invest, so presence is like it's a combination, again, of physical, emotional, and mental space, these fields that I am carrying. So the more presence of emotional, mental, and physical presence I give to my space is what shifts that balance of space-time that we have. And so I think that's one way to talk about the practice, is we're shifting our fields towards awakening. You know, the more presence we invest in our space-time, the more awakening we manifest. And so, you know, if I learned that I had, 10 years left to live, or 5 years left to live, or 1 year left to live, I think probably the best investment I could make would be presence in myself, my presence. If I can spend like 9 years and 364 days developing my presence, investing presence into my field, then the last day I have to live would be abundantly spacious. It's this vast emptiness that comes up that we talk about sometimes. So this vast spaciousness, vast emptiness of the universe comes with this realization that I'm here now. And the more presence I bring to here now, the more spacious and vast my experience is. And so, a visual I have, I can't really share it with you right here on the screen, but I can describe it. This visual is like, so we all have like auras, right? We believe that we have an energy field. Like that's pretty commonly accepted spiritual talk these days, is that I have an aura. My energy extends outside of myself, my physical body. And so I think when I came into this practice, I was all over the place, right? My energy physically and mentally and emotionally was like way out here. I'm always thinking about what's over there. I'm thinking about what happened then. I'm giving all my presence to something over there or back there. Different times, different places in my life. If I'm giving all my presence away, then my field is my energy is very big, but my center is very small. My space time is very small, but my energy field is very big. And so I've shifted that throughout the practice of settling down, bringing my attention back here, all the presence I'm giving away to them and years ago, and all my trauma and all my difficulties, just replaying that, giving my presence out there. I've brought it all back here. So it's happening here now. It's close to me. I'm intimate with these things, becoming more intimate with these dynamics and my presence. So bringing my presence in has allowed my field to become larger, right? I feel like my getting grounded physically has increased my space-time field. So I'm not sure if that visual really worked well for you, but I hope you get the idea that I'm talking about. It's a little confused. I'm a little confused. But basically, yeah, I think to sum it up, basically what I'm getting at is the more presence we invest in ourselves, the more abundant our space and our time, our experience of space time will be. And so I think that's worth everything, right? That makes all the difference in this life, is investing enough presence in ourselves to feel spacious. And I think this works as well for others, right? I used to watch Zoe, right? For years, I've felt like giving presence is giving space time. If I give my presence to somebody else, I'm giving them more space time. And so I think, like in school, right? As a teacher, a lot of my job is just to watch students, just to watch them doing whatever they're doing. If I'm on my phone and I'm distracted and I'm just thinking about whatever, they benefit less. They are more distracted and they feel like they have less space and time. But if I really invest my presence into them and I just be with them and I watch them and I give them my space time, then they feel more spacious. And so it's something we can share. And I think we can influence each other and affect each other with this realization. So waking up to space time and presence really makes a huge difference. I think it's a great awakening to how we can shift our time, our experience of time in our lives through this spiritual practice. And I think Zen is really unique in terms of giving the most attention to bringing presence to our space-time than maybe any other religion. I'm not sure about that. But the emphasis Zen has on bringing presence to our space-time as a way to awaken to the spaciousness and the eternity of our time is everything. And it's very powerful. So I'm so grateful for Zen and Buddhism to have brought this practice to us so that we have the opportunity in this life as humans to be able to have a practice where we can experience the spaciousness, which makes all the difference. So, yeah, I think presence, right? From this standpoint, presence is space-time. The more presence we have, the more space-time we have. So, anyway, that's kind of that's what I have to share in a nutshell. It's a little esoteric and it's a little, bringing in some kind of esoteric physics, but I think it's very relevant to our practice and to our understanding our Zen philosophy. Zen does have philosophy and understanding time and how time works and how we as space-time work and how we can shift our lives and our awakening through paying attention to our time. So that's about it. Does anybody want to have any questions or anything?